Many of the mistakes we make in life don't actually come from doing the wrong thing. Instead, they come from a place of being too intense, too insistent, and pushing circumstances until they break. We live in a world that tells us to give 110%, to fight until the very last breath, and to ensure we never lose an inch of ground. We assume that to be sincere or diligent means reaching the absolute extreme of our capacity. But when you look at the wreckage of most failed relationships and broken spirits, you'll find that the cause wasn't a lack of effort, it was a lack of a margin. When you push a situation too far, the connection, the Yuan or fate, reaches its end prematurely. We often believe that by being meticulous and calculating every move, we are protecting our interests. But a person who is constantly calculating eventually finds that their heart has become a hollow, cold place. A person who is too demanding finds that their relationships are filled with hidden resentment and silent cracks. Those who are obsessed with winning every argument eventually realize that while they won the point, they lost the person. Much of the regret we carry doesn't exist because people weren't good enough. It exists because we didn't understand the art of knowing when to stop. Think of a tree in the height of summer. No matter how dense and lush its branches are, it must still leave gaps. If the leaves are so thick that not even a whisper of wind can pass through, the tree cannot breathe. If the canopy is so solid that no sunlight can reach the roots, the tree cannot thrive. Life requires these gaps. Even the deepest love needs room for both people to breathe. If you try to fill every second, every thought, and every space with your own intensity, happiness will eventually overflow and spill away, leaving only a damp, cold mess behind. This principle applies to every corner of our lives. Between friends, being too nitpicky or insisting on absolute fairness, in every exchange will eventually turn a bond into a burden. Between family members, being too calculating about who did what or who owes whom will eventually freeze the natural warmth of home. In our modern rush to be right, we forget that relationships are not math problems. They are not built on logic or win-loss ratios. They are built on heart and intention. The ancients warned us that when water is full, it spills. When the moon is full, it begins its cycle of waning. Anything that reaches its absolute peak has nowhere left to go but down. If you do not leave a margin in how you treat others, you aren't being thorough. You are being suffocating. There is a dangerous short-sightedness in human nature, the belief that by stepping on someone else, we can somehow lift ourselves higher. Many think that snatching an opportunity away from a rival or sabotaging a colleague is the path to security. But reality is a mirror that reflects our intentions back at us. If you smash someone else's pot, your own stomach isn't any fuller. If you blow out someone else's lamp, your own path doesn't become any brighter. In fact, you've just made the whole world a little darker for everyone, including yourself. Think of the old metaphor about mud. When you pick up a handful of mud to throw at an enemy, you might hit them, or you might miss. But regardless of the outcome, there is one certainty: your own hands are the first to get dirty. Malice is a boomerang that may take a long time to return, but it always remembers its origin. In the workplace, those who climb over others usually find themselves isolated when they finally reach the top. In families, those who always settle scores find that the warmth has left the house long before the argument ended. pushing things to the limit is essentially digging a hole for your future self. True wisdom is found in the softness of the soul. The things in this world that are rigid and hard are the first to break in a storm. The things that are soft and yielding, like the grass or the water, are the ones that endure. Leaving a margin for others isn't a sign of weakness or cowardice. It is a profound act of self-preservation. It is building a bridge that you might need to cross one day. Most of the blessings in our lives are not found in the moments where we won, but in the moments where we chose to be kind instead of right. Consider the history of those who were truly powerful, those who used every scheme and every ounce of force to maintain control often lived in a state of constant, shivering anxiety. They could never sleep soundly because they knew exactly how they had treated others, and they feared the same treatment in return. In contrast, those who knew how to be modest and how to leave room for others were the ones who truly won the hearts of the people. Character is like a cup of tea. If it's filled so high that you can't even hold it, you'll never taste the sweetness. You'll only burn your own hands. The concept of karma, or cause and effect, is often misunderstood as a cosmic punishment. In reality, it is a psychological and energetic balance. If you constantly carry malice or calculation in your heart, that energy becomes the atmosphere you live in every day. You attract people who are just as calculating as you are. You create an environment of suspicion. On the other hand, if you carry a seed of kindness, you are planting a garden that will eventually provide you with shade. Doing good isn't a performance for others. It's an insurance policy for your own peace of mind. There was once an old man in a small village who was never wealthy, but he was always at peace. He would quietly help neighbors with their harvests and spend his afternoons clearing stones from the public roads. When people asked him why he bothered with work that didn't pay, he simply said, "If the road is smooth, everyone has a better walk." Years later, a fire broke out in the village because he had spent his life being a margin for others. The entire village rushed to save his house first. His safety wasn't a miracle, it was the natural harvest of the seeds he had planted. Contrast this with the successful entrepreneur who spends his youth being ruthless. He might accumulate vast wealth, but if he reaches middle age and finds that his children are cold, his friends are gone, and his employees are silent, is he truly successful? He might have won the game of money, but he lost the game of life. He pushed everything to the limit, and so his connection to the goodness of life reached its end early. The universe doesn't hold grudges, but it does maintain a ledger of our intentions. When you do good, your blessings might not arrive with a fanfare. Kindness is like a seed buried deep in the earth. It needs time to absorb the rain and the sunlight. But while you wait, your misfortunes are already moving away. When you do evil, the punishment might not be a lightning bolt from the sky, but rather a slow, creeping restlessness in the soul. That internal chaos, that inability to find a quiet moment of peace, that is the real retribution. True karma isn't what happens to you, it's what happens inside you. In Chinese art, there is a beautiful concept called Lu Bai, or leaving the white space. In a traditional painting, the artist leaves parts of the paper completely untouched. This isn't because they were lazy or ran out of ink. It's because the white space is what allows the mountains, the birds, and the water to exist. Without the empty space, the painting would just be a chaotic mess of black. Our lives need this white space. Leave some affection for others and keep some kindness for yourself. Don't be so full of your own opinions that you can't hear the truth. Don't be so full of your own desires that you can't see the needs of those around you. Maturity is the art of restraint. It's the moment you realize that you no longer need to convince the world of your worth. You don't need to win every argument or have the last word. You start to understand that not fighting is actually a supreme form of strength. A flower doesn't need to scream to attract a bee. It just needs to be a flower. A lamp doesn't need to blind you to show you the way. A soft glow is often more helpful. If you feel you are in a difficult season, or if you feel that you have been treated unfairly, do not respond with the same hardness that hurt you. If you respond to a sharp edge with another sharp edge, things will only break. Respond with softness. Respond by leaving a margin. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is to simply turn around and walk away from a conflict that no longer serves your soul. This isn't admitting defeat. It's admitting that your peace is worth more than a temporary victory. Every act of kindness you plant today, no matter how small, is a gift to your future self. When you choose not to be petty, when you choose to forgive a slight, when you choose to let someone else have the win, you are clearing the path for your own luck to return. Don't be afraid of losing out in the short term. The world has a way of balancing its scales. If the heart is kind, the path will eventually widen. If the heart is steady, the universe itself will guard you. Life is far too short to spend it in a state of constant friction. Be gentle with people and be calm with circumstances. Those who make others feel comfortable will eventually find themselves wrapped in the comfort of the world. Kindness isn't being naive. It is the most sophisticated form of power. When you choose kindness, you are choosing the most durable protection available. May we all learn to have fewer obsessions and more mercy. May we learn to leave a little room, keep a little light in our hearts, and let the rest go. All happiness in the end begins with a heart that knows how to be still.